Hey, what's up? Thanks for watching TopKlass tutorials. In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to set up headphone sends or headphone mixes. I'll also be talking a little bit about audio interfaces, patch bays, and signal flow. Let's get started. So what is a headphone send and why do you need it? A headphone send is typically a separate mix from your main mix that you send to musicians' headphones while they're recording. This is useful for helping artists and musicians focus on what they need to hear most to get a better performance. It also gives engineers more flexibility to experiment with different levels without changing what the musicians hear. I'm using ProTools for this demonstration, but the concepts apply to all other DAWs. I have a vocal recording template open that I created. If you're interested in learning how to create your own templates, I made a previous video about that. In this template, I have a vocal track that's being routed to a vocal bus with a couple different effect sends. All of my effects are routed to a vocal effects bus, and then everything is routed to another vocal bus. Last, I have a stereo bus set up for my instrumental or 2-track, a metronome or click track, and a master fader. I'm going to import an instrumental I was working on earlier. I'll make sure my track list is visible by clicking the arrow at the bottom left corner of the mix or the edit window. Then I'll drag and drop my audio files into the tracks list column. This is not the recommended way to import audio, but it's the way I do it when I'm working with files that I don't plan on trying to open at a different location. Once the audio is imported, I'll route the audio to the instrumental bus and create a group. I'll name the group Beat. Now I'll press play and make sure everything is routed correctly and make some adjustments. Everything sounds good. Now I'll create a headphone send. I'll press Command-Shift-N to open the new tracks window. I'll create a stereo aux track and label it headphones. By default, the output is assigned to your default output. Next, I'll assign the input of the headphone bus to an available bus. If the bus is white, then it's available, and if it's orange, it's currently being used. I'll rename the input to headphones. Next, I'll select all the tracks I want to send to the headphone aux and hold down Option and Shift, then select H. Select Search and type headphone and select headphone. If you hold down Command and click the dot next to your send, you'll see a small fader for your send. Now I'll select all my tracks and press Command-G to create a group for my headphone sends. I'll label the group headphones and change the ID to H. Change the type to mix, and uncheck follow globals. Then, under the attributes tab, make sure you only have volume and mute checked for the H send. Now, any changes I make to the headphone send will be applied to all of them. You can enable and disable this group from the mix window by pressing the H button. Make sure the AZ button is selected next to the groups column. I'll set all the sends to pre-fader metering, which allows me to make changes to the main fader without affecting the volume of the sends to my headphone bus. To start creating a headphone mix, I'll mute the instrumental bus, unmute the headphone bus, then press play and start adjusting the volume for the headphone sends. Now I have a main mix and a headphone mix I can switch between while I'm recording. I mentioned earlier to set your sends to pre-fader metering, and I'll demonstrate why. I'll play the headphone mix and deactivate pre-fader metering on all my instrumental tracks as the song is playing. You probably noticed a difference in volume, and that's because the volume of the sends are affected by the main faders. I'll play the headphone mix again and adjust the volume of the drums. Watch the volume meter on the send as I adjust the volume. Now I'll switch the headphone send on the drums to pre-fader metering and adjust the volume. Because the sends in pre-fader metering, the volume is independent from the main fader on the track. This is useful for metronomes or click tracks also. I recorded some vocals off camera to show how to set up a headphone send with vocals. I added some parallel compression, EQ, and de-essing on the vocal bus also. Here's my main mix. To get the bag, risk it, double up, flip it. Oh, this your song, get it. Oh, this your song, get it. Me and my team, winning. You and your team, different. Oh, this your song, get it. Oh, this your song, get it. Here's my headphone mix. To get the bag, risk it, double up, flip it. Oh, this your song, get it. Oh, this your song, get it. Me and my team, winning. You and your team, different. Oh, this your song, get it. Oh, this your song, get it. The headphone mix has way less reverb and delay effects than the main mix to help me focus on my performance and timing while recording. To set that up, you just create a headphone send on your vocal effects and vocal bus. Set the sends to pre-fader metering, then turn the volume of the effects headphone send down. This is a great way to set up a headphone mix in the box or inside your DAW. If you have an interface that has the option for multiple outputs, then you have a couple more options. For example, I have an Apollo 8 interface that has over 20 inputs and outputs, including 2 dedicated outputs for headphones. I have everything plugged into a patch bay, then being routed to a monitor controller and a headphone amp. Because of this setup, I can listen to separate mixes simultaneously, record multiple signals, and make really cool tutorial videos. I'll play the session and switch between the headphone mix and my main mix on my headphone amp and patch the output from my headphone amp back into my interface into Logic so I can listen to the change. All you need to do is route the output of your headphone bus in ProTools to an available output on your interface. Then route the signal from your interface to either a headphone amp, monitor controller, mixer, patch bay, or dedicated headphone output on your interface. To get the bag, risk it, double up, flip it. Oh, this your song, get it. Oh, this your song, get it. Me and my team, winning. You and your team, different. Oh, this your song, get it. Oh, this your song, get it. The bag, risk it, double up, flip it. Oh, this your song, get it. Oh, this your song, get it. Me and my team. So that's how you set up a headphone mix. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, write them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.